Good evening. Welcome to our Gemara shiur, Masechet Shabbos. We're in Daf Kuf Chof Amud Aleph. This shiur is Le'ilu Nishmas my father Menachem ben Akiva for the safe return of all the hostages very, very quickly, for the safe return of all the soldiers, for the coming of Mashiach. Be'ezras Hashem, special. Um, this shiur is for the Atzloch of Noach Binyamin ben Yocheved and for the Atzloch of the Klal Yisrael. So Hi. We are starting now to list the um, list of clothing items that were worn by people in the times of the Gemara. What did people in the times of the Gemara, what did they used to wear? So the reason why we're talking here about garments in the times of the Talmud is because the Mishnah told us that one's not supposed to save too much food or too much clothes when it comes to fire. If fire breaks on Shabbos, you chas v'shalom, you're not supposed to save endless amount of food or even clothes. There is a limit. Why? Because if you save too much and you're busy salvaging everything, you may come to you may come to sorry you may come to put out the fire. You'll be so engrossed in the work, you'll forget and you'll put out the fire. So, how many clothes are you allowed to take out? Zog de Braise, Ton Rabbanon, Loivesh umoitzi upoishet. You're allowed to wear clothes, take out upoishet, get undressed outside. V'choizer, go back inside to the house where fire is approaching. V'loivesh, wear the other clothes, umoitzi. As you wear them, go out wearing them. You're not allowed to carry them, only to wear them. Upoishet, and then again, every time you unload, outside. Vafilu kol yom kuloi, diva b'meir. You can repeat that as many times as you want. According to Rabbi Meir, there's no limit to the amount of clothes. The limitation is regarding how you do it. You're only allowed to take the clothes and wear them, and then as many clothes as you want, you can take out because you wear them, you don't carry them. Because you don't carry them, it's okay, it's not a problem. This is Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yossi says Shmonasar kelim. Only 18 garments you can wear at a time. And according to Rashi, you're only allowed to do that once. In other words, because when a person, in times of the Gemara, when a person was fully dressed, comparable to our, let's say, undershirt, tzitzis, shirt, a sweater maybe, and a jacket, and a coat, right? You can wear many, many layers, but you don't wear two coats, you don't wear two jackets. That's the idea of Rabbi Yossi. You're allowed to be fully, fully, fully dressed, with all the garments that you usually wear when you are fully garbed, That is what you're allowed to do, and only once. You can't repeat that according to Rashi. The Machlokes Hashanim, and now let's follow Rashi. Velem Shmonasar Kelim. These are the 18 Kelim. What are the 18 Kelim? The 18 garments you're allowed to wear at once and go out of the fire to save them from the fire. Miktoiren. Miktoiren is the upper garment, is like the overcoat, the coat you wear on top of everything. Or later we'll see something even more over, but that's the overcoat. Unkeli are the coat that's padded. It's like a padded coat inside, a padded garment, like lined inside, maybe for the winter. Punda is the gartel, is like the sash, the big belt you wear outside. Kalbus shel pishtan. Kalbus shel pishtan is a short and tight garment. I have the feeling that this is like today's shirt. Today's shirt, it's something short and tight just to cover your torso. The chaluk. Chaluk, says Rashi, is the kamisa on his flesh. That's an undershirt. So up until now, we're speaking about the upper part of the body. The apiliois. Apiliois, according to Rashi, is a shawl, like an overgarment that covers everything like a sardine, like some kind of lisatef kuloi. It's one big sheet to cover your entire body. According to other Rishonim, apiliois is something to cover your face. Maybe in the winter, whichever, for, I don't know, tznius, winter, you cover your face. Ma'apoires. Ma'apoires is again something on the head. It's a head scarf, head cover. Vishnei sapalkin. Shnei sapalkin are the trousers, the pants, the two pants. Michnasayim, some Rishonim say. I looked at other Rishonim as well. Vishnei min olim, these are two shoes. Vishnei and pilois are more like socks that it's the most similar thing to what we know as socks until the reach, more or less till the knee. Ubeis pargad are actually knee protectors. Yeah, yeah, maybe they played basketball, not basketball, no, football. They are knee protectors. They would have them, yeah. The chagol shebemoisnov is the lower chagol, the belt, the inner belt. Yeah, the punda was the outer belt. This is an inner belt. Oh, Hasidim, you have a uter lion, a gartel and a belt. Yay! The kova sheberoishoy, a hat on the head. The sudar shebetzavoroy. Sudar shebetzavoroy, although already mentioned the top, but this is like a scarf. Yeah, like a scarf. Rashi said the scarf was also used in order to wipe your mouth. So it was a scarf and like a napkin, all in one. Modern invention. So these 18 clothes is how a man would be looking when he was fully clothed, and that's what you're allowed to take on one time, one go on Shabbos from Loleinu burning house. I was wondering, what about women? Women definitely wore other clothes than men back then in the good old days. So then we don't know what they wore, and I'm sure halacha applies to them too. I don't know. Interesting, but I don't know what halacha is. Zog the Heilige Mishnah. Our Mishnah will tell us about a very important concept called gram kibui. Gram kibui. One second. Before we continue, Tzvi is making a good point on Zoom. Maybe it depends on the type of person. Maybe a king would also have a crown and other items that a regular person wouldn't have. So maybe it depends on the status of the person. Maybe this is talking about a regular person. I want to point out, Tzvi, though, that Reb Shimon holds in a few places, Kol Yisrael b'nei Melochim. So everyone's allowed to dress like a king. Maybe he would hold that everyone should get dressed. If you have royal garments in your house, you take them out. For you, that's normal. Otherwise, you wouldn't have them. Says the Mishnah, Gram Kibui. Yeah, what's Gram Kibui? We're going to see now. Rabbi Shimon ben Anas Oimer, כל שנאור של גדי על גבי שידה, טבע ומגדל שאוחז בין הסעור, מפני שהוא מחרך. Let's explain. Lo aleinu, somebody sees that his shida, teva, umigdal, these are all three different types of cupboards, furniture, with drawers, without drawers, small, short, doesn't matter, box. And these are important for you. Chas v'sholem, the fire is slowly but surely approaching those pieces of furniture. What do? Says Reb Shimon ben Anas, you're allowed to avoid the fire. By how? Posting, you can spread over the cupboard or shilgdi. Take leather, fresh leather, untanned, fresh leather that's like moist and therefore resists the fire. You can put it there, made out of kid. It's a kid skin, but a very raw one. Put it there. You know why? Mecharech means it's going to scorch it. The fire will scorch it, but not burn it. And once the fire doesn't have food, doesn't have fuel, it's going to die. Basically, this Mishnah will tell us there are two levels of kibui. There is not giving food for the fire, and there's putting out the fire, right? What are the two ways to stop somebody who talks nonsense? Either you mechabe, you answer back, or you just don't reply. You eventually runs out of words, and you just don't, right? That's another way. I think that's the musar over here. It's a good thing for chinuch abanim. Now, continues the Mishnah. The oisin mechitza b'chol kelim. Imagine yourself two rooms, yeah? Now, one room, the fire is already there. You want to save the other room. You have to get a mechitza, make a mechitza from all types of vessels. Ben melein, ben rikonim. Either they're full of water or they're empty. B'shvil shalotavo adleika. Another way to stop the fire is what? You have the kelim. Those kelim, the fire will hit the kelim, and if the kelim are just dry metal, even cheres, the fire will nothing will happen. But did you notice? We said you can also put kelim that are full of water. Why did you fill them with water? Rabbi Yossi Oyser, when you see Rabbi Yossi, that's also the Gemara learns the Mishnah. Rabbi Yossi will tell us that it's not so simple to fill them with water. Why? Rabbi Yossi says, here I disagree. Oiser, he forbids beklecheres chadoshim melein mayim. If you have that little combination of new kalim made out of cheres, of like a clay, yeah, cheres kalim made out of that are new, because they're new, they're less fire resistant, and they will crack when the fire comes, and they're full of water. What's going to happen? Lefi she'en yichon lekabel esa'ur. They will not just accept the fire and not let it continue. They will not just stop the fire. Then nisbakin crack. What's livkoa b'kiyas hayam? They will crack open. Boom! That's going to be a very very nice show. That's movie material. Now the crack open, full of water. Mechabines adleika, which means the end of the Mishnah is not talking about something which just stops the fire because the fire is nowhere to go. We're talking here about active kibui. You're basically playing firefighter on delayed reaction. Rabbi Isai, this is the Mishnah that teaches about delayed reaction. Big needed in the poskim nowadays. The car, the phone of delayed reaction, big problem. Yeah, this is it. In other words, you're basically setting up a kibui. The fire will arrive there, will reach there in 5-10 minutes, and it's in for a surprise. Ha ha ha. And this is not like the beginning. The beginning of the Mishnah, I'm putting something on the disk, right? And what is it? Eventually the fire will just stop, die. But I'm not doing an active kibui. Active kibui is the water, boom, spritzes on the fire. That's a seifa. The Mishnah, the Gemara will make a very, very clear distinction between the two. And the second part is called gram kibui. The first part is not called kibui, it's called hafsoko. You're not putting out the fire. The fire is nowhere to go. The guy stopped talking nonsense, finish, and malasot, gavarnu. The sheikh and the seifa, that's where Rabbi Yossi gets up and disagrees, says Rabbi Yossi, gram kibui also. When you are making a real active kibui, fire coming, the fire is coming and actively extinguishing the water. You're doing it in delayed reaction. That's nice. It's not osir d'oraisa. Most probably it's not, but it's still osir according to Rabbi Yossi, even if you're going to lose money. Well, Tanakama says it's okay. So we're going to see in the Gemara. I'm spoon feeding a little bit. They can see it just for yourselves already. Reb Shimon and Anas did not forbid it, right? I'm not right. Reb Shimon and Anas would say no. Go ahead. You can play that funny delayed reaction game. Why not? Especially this is Chatza Sakana. That's what the Ramos says. If it's time of not Sakonas Nefashos, I mean to say Hefsed moment. If you wanna basically save your money and not lose moment, then you can use gram kibui. Many say you're allowed to do it if they don't have Hefsed moment, but I'm jumping the gun. Let's just continue for now. What to give up?
Why didn't know Sakonas Nefashos?
No, that's a mitzvah. No, Sakonas Nefashos do everything. Because Sakonas Nefashos, there's no discussion. You can put out the fire. If there's a baby there lying in the cot and the fire is coming, you can put out the fire, and you should jolly well put out the fire straight away. Because the Pikuach Nefesh Doicha Shabbos, last time I checked, the whole Nidin, yes, no, maybe so, is obviously only when your passport and your $1 million are there. Then you may or may not lose, but not life, right? Yeah, what? What's your question?
Why are we
Zog the Gemara. Amar Marav. Talis sha'ochas ba ha'ur mitzad echod. Let's say you have, imagine yourself, a folded, I'm talking the way the Rishonim explain, you have a folded talis or folded garment, yeah, could be even a bedding, whatever, and or the fire caught it on one side, yeah, remember? Nois minalamai mitzad acher. You're allowed to wet it with water on the other side of the garment, right? Vimkovsa kovsa, which means I'm allowed to basically put the water on the garment on the other side where the fire is not there. I can't put it on the fire because that's kibui beyadai. Can't put out the fire. I'm allowed to put the fire, excuse me, the water on the other part, wet the garment on the other side. If the fire reaches it and the fire goes out, great. In other words, I clearly, yes, saved this part of the garment. If it causes a fire, the water and the fire are going to fight and the water is going to win, great, good, no problem. This is more similar to the end of the Mishnah. I'm putting actively water that may eventually put out the fire and it's fine. Mesivi. Here comes the brisa that says otherwise. This is Rabbi Yehuda Marav and Amoira. We had an Amoraic statement. Now we're going to have a brisa. What does brisa say? Talis shochos ba'ur mitzad echad. Same story. Talis that has ur on one side. Why did they say that it's folded? I'll tell you why. Poishto umiskasabo vimkovsa kovsa, which means, what am I allowed to do? You are not allowed to put water, says the Baisa. You're allowed to spread it out because when it's folded and the fire is here, the fire has control over the whole area. Like this week's parsha, Yaakov Avinu, Hashem folded the whole Eretz Yisrael under him. He's in charge. But if you spread out the whole talis, could be 5 meters long, a tablecloth, right? Then you spread it out. The fire is only in one corner. You know what you're allowed to do? You're allowed to miskaseba, cover yourself with it, and could be with the movement of you covering yourself with it, opening and covering, that may cause it to go out. And that, say the Rishonim, the Ritva says, that's not called kibui. Why? I'm not using water. I'm just wearing it the normal way. It's normal to spread out. It's normal to wear, even 2 or 3 times. Even says the Taz, even from a kavanos to be mechabe. Why? It's hefsed, and it's the lowest level of gram kibui. I'm not using water that will put it out. I'm behaving in a normal way with that beged. Just like I'm allowed to put out, spread out my talis, which you do every morning, and cover and wrap. You can do it twice, 3 times. Says the Mishnah Berurah, as long as you don't crazy and go too fast or cut. That's osir. That's mamash derech kibui. But if you do your regular motions, which you would otherwise do, let's take the talis, spread it, wear it, this, that, as long as it's nice and slow. If the process goes out, that's not called maisa kibui. It's called maisa behaving normal, and it's a lower level of gram kibui. And that, by the way, is a claim against Rav. You, Rav, you said I'm allowed to put water. To put water, which will eventually meet the fire, that is active kibui, delayed, but active. But the second part, when I'm just miskasa mislabesh, I saw the Rishonim and the Mishnah Berurah, those say more or less the same. It's a normal pe'ula of wearing and unwearing. That's all. And therefore, even though it may be miskabe, even if it's in your mind, that's machloikis. Some say even then, it's not derech mahalach normal of kibui, and in order to avoid loss, that's okay. V'chen sefer Torah, sefer Torah the more so, lo leinu sefer Torah, shochos bo'a'u, fire took hold of the Sefer Torah, one part of it, poishtoi, you're allowed to spread out the Sefer Torah, v'koire boy, and you read in it, maybe close again, v'imkol v'kova. And if it's out, it's out. But that's a claim against Tav. Because all we see is you're allowed to do things the normal way, in, out, wear, read. You're allowed to behave in the normal motions towards that object. But we didn't see you're allowed to put water that will fight the fire. That's a higher level. And that we did not allow. So how can Rav allow it? Answers the Gemara. Simple. Rav follows Shimon Benanas in the Mishnah. You're attacking him from a brisa. Rav has a big daddy called Rav Shimon Benanas. He has someone to rely on. What did Rav Shimon Benanas say? That you're allowed to stop the dleika with a kid's skin. So you're allowed to do gram kibui. This is only the beginning. Frag the Gemara, that's not a good example. All we saw in the Reisha of Rabbi Shimon ben Yonanas is not to have water against fire. You're only allowed to put something that just the fire doesn't relate to. The fire doesn't burn. But Gam Kibui mi Omar, Gam Kibui mi Omar. Did you see that Rabbi Shimon allows you to do what? As I told you, the delayed reaction firefighting of water versus fire. Did Rabbi Shimon allow that? Because this is what Rav is allowing with the talis. He allows you to wet it with water in order to really fight the fire when it arrives there. Says the Gemara, as I told you before, yes, Rabbi Shimon ben Anas does allow it. Even though it's only mentioned in the Reisha, he's also allowed. He allows you to do things mentioned in the Seifa. B'dektani Seifa, since it says in the Seifa, Rabbi Yossi oisa b'kleches chadoshim melein mayim she'enu chol mekabel esaur. Rabbi Yossi was the one who said, when you make this mechitza, the second case of the Mishnah, you make this nice mechitza between fire and the other room, and you're not allowed to put there newly fashioned klei cheres because they're new and young. They are on fire. They don't let the fire go in. What's going to happen to them? They can't accept the fire. Then misbakin, poof, they're going to basically crack up. Boom, the water will come in. Who does not allow that active kibui called gram kibui? Rabbi Yossi, aha. Michal and Tanakama Shari. So although Rabbi Shimon ben Nas didn't say it outright, when you put two and two together, if only Rabbi Yossi is the one who resisted it, Mashal Rabbi Shimon and Anas did allow it. So let's summarize. So basically, we have two shittas. It's very simple. Rabbi Shimon ben Anas says not only allowed to put the kid skin to stop the fire, Rabbi Shimon ben Anas also allows you to basically create an active kibui or fire versus water, even though it's active, but as long as it's gromo, as long as it's a delayed reaction will happen later, that's okay. According to Shimon Anas, Rabbi Yossi oiser gam kibui, samech samech. Rabbi Yossi oiser gam kibui. That's Rabbi Yossi, and really we pass in like who? Who did Rav follow? We just saw Rav followed the Kula, and Rav, and therefore says the Ramo, the Shulchan Aruch and the Ramos say you are allowed to do gram kibui. Says the Shulchan Aruch. The Ramo ends behefsed, bizman hefsed. But there are many people who hold you allowed to do gram kibui even without hefsed. Yeah, it's the Rabbanon. Also, kibui, by the way, is anyhow mostly the Rabbanon because it's enetzrich gufa. So, Graham, I'm not your local Orthodox rabbi. I am Orthodox, I am actually, but I'm not your local rabbi. Yeah, I mean, so Lemaisa, there are many people who allow you to do Gram Kibui in all kinds of needs, Shabbos clock. Whatever. I'm not going into details, but Ramos says B'Shas Sakon, and many others say in other things. And I saw the Biur Locho that says, no, I keep saying Sakon, I meant Hefsed, I'm sorry. Bizman Hefsed, even other melachos, not only Kibui, even other melachos deoraisa, you may allow to do the oifen of gram, grama, bizman of hefsed. That's why we have the grama in the hospitals. I'm not going to the grama car and the grama phone, which is terrible because people took it way out of context. But I know even in Karim, they have two sockets. If you noticed, you should all go there for good things. They have a white one and an orange one. The orange one is for choile. They allow them to put it on Shabbos, but then that socket, electric socket, is for Gomer. It's a choile, not choile mesukan, but a choile. Again, I'm not a poisek. Certain situations, gram is allowed, even for havara, maybe for other things. That's a general idea. Again, this is not a psak, just food for thought. Gram means delayed reaction. In other words, I'm not putting out be'adayim. I put the kalim, and the fire will eventually get there in 2, 3, 5, 10, 20 minutes, and then it will happen. That's delayed. That's goma. That's more removed from me. So when the I say it's okay, with the Rabbanon, it's also, and Rabbanon allow it in certain times. That's the name of the game, except Rabbi Yosef does not allow it. Don't Rabbanon. Now we're going to learn about Dovel Shen Miskaven regarding Kibui. Ner Shal Gabi Tavla. There is a candle on a kind of a table. Tavla is a table or a tray, and you want to use the tray or the table, and the candle is there, and the candle is bothering you. Menair is a tavla v'inoi feles. Look at that. You're allowed to shake the tavla. Says the Meiri, brought down in the Mishnah Berurah, gently. You're allowed to shake the thing, the table, the whatever, gently, and let the candle fall. No feles. The candle falls. It's falling on the floor. The im kovso kovso. And if it's going to put out, it will be put out. What does that mean? As I warned you, the Meiri says we're talking here about a gentle movement. I assume the table is not very high, and we're not sure that the candle by falling will really be put out. So I'm not dealing now with Gram Kibu, which is another question here, but here all the Rishonim Nechorim that I've seen, they're dealing now with Dovash and Miskaven. I'm doing Kibui. I'm really not interested in being Mechabe. All I want is a table. And the candle's just bothering me. I want to put my Sfarim there. Who put this silly candle there? Yeah? So then I'm allowed to let it fall, and im kovso kovso. And it's not psik reisha. It's not psik reisha because we're not sure it's going to happen. I told you yesterday, remember? The Toises and many Rishonim ask, that's all very nice. Even if the flame will survive, it may survive. Yeah, it's a short little fall, but the oil will surely be spilled out. And when you take out oil out of a lantern, that's already kibui. Even if the fire remains, the actual sipping out, siphoning out oil, we learned many times, it's called mistapkin, is also, and that for sure will happen, right? So Mimele Tosfos says there are a few answers in the Rishonim. Either we're talking about a candle that doesn't have the oil anymore, just the flame surviving on very little, or we're talking about our candle of Shava. So there's no oil that's spilling. Okay. Now, excuse me, what about Muktzeh? Kibush Mibui. Kibush is very important malacha, but there's also Muktzeh. Amr Dever Rabbi Yanai, Lishon Lebeshocheach. Aval Ben Niach Natz Bosas Adavar Osu. Which means, the Gemara is giving us a very, very clear comment over here. This is all very nice to Bichlal touch and move this table. If what's the candle doing there? You forgot it there. Really, the candle wasn't meant to be there. You put the candle there, it's an air neshama. You really wanted to put it in a different place, but you forgot. Friday afternoon, short Fridays, right? Did it ever happen to you that you forgot to do something on Friday? No, right? So yeah, I have a list of things, like 90% of Shabbos, I have a list of things. You usually forget like one little thing, like one thing in the generator, one thing in the, yeah, you remember 99 maybe, yeah. But what? He forgot the candle over there. Then it's not a basis because it's not meant to be there. Aval b'meniach, if really you're placing it on purpose in order for that to be there benish moshes or the entire Shabbos, then it's basis. Then you're not allowed to move it because the whole table becomes a basis. Basis depends. Basis is only basis if you meant to really leave it there on purpose, and that's your rotzon that the candle will be there. In the middle of Shabbos, you change your mind. Middle of Shabbos, too late. In Shabbos, we have the very, very famous golden rule from Daf Mem Gimel: Migud is katzol ben Moshe is katzol kol yoyma. Everything on Shabbos is determined the status by ben Moshe. That's it. It's frozen in time. You can't be mechadish on Shabbos. And now you wanted it to stay there on Shabbos. Now you're changing your mind. Too late. It's already bosses. Nothing you can do. Maybe you can get a guy to do. No, even though Lamaisa will be a bosses, you won't be able to move the table. Even after the table itself is bosses. Even if it will fall, it won't help because the table itself is already muktzah completely. Yeah. Tana, another story of kibui sheino miskaven. Ner shachoira deles. A person has a candle stuck to the inner side of the door. Imagine yourself the main door of your house, and to that door, in the inner part, instead of having all kinds of cute magnets or whatever you have there, yeah, you have a candle, a burning candle, and it is now Shabbos Kodesh. What can you do? Are you allowed to open and close the door? Says yes, says the Brisa. Pesach v'nol kedalkoi. You're allowed to open and close the normal way. Vim kovsa kovsa. And if it will be put out, nish geferlich. Okay. In other words, I'm opening the door, I'm closing the door. If through the movement the candle will be put out by mistake, okay, what can I do? Not the end of the world. I'm not explaining on purpose. Now, light al Rav. Opa. Rav cursed whoever followed that brisa. Rav was so upset with that. Whoever Amoira that quoted that brisa, he says, excuse my language, baloney. He cursed people who followed that psak. Omer Ravina Ravacha Brei Derove. The Amir Ravacha Brei Derove Ravashi. Yet the Amoroim are now in turmoil. What's going on over here? My time Elayt Rav. Why did Rav curse people who do what? Who open and close the door with regular motion, regular speed, with the candle may, yes or may not, be put out by the movement, yeah, by the swinging. Rav cursed them. Why? Why? Ilema, if it's because Mishum de Rav Sobar Rabbi Yehuda, V'tana Ktanya Rabbi Shimon, aha. The assumption here is, and that seems to be where the wind, excuse the pun, where the wind is blowing. This seems to be, I was like hinting it, Dovashan is coming. It's not going to happen for sure. I'm not interested in this being put out. What do I want? To open and close the door. Like, I'm allowed to leave my house on Shabbos. No, there's shul, there's kiddushi and bris and all stuff going on, right? Not homebound the whole day, right? I'm closing and opening the door, kind of normal. And the fire may or may not go out. That's classical. Dov Hashem is kaven. So now we understand why Rav is not so happy about it. Why? Rav, already from Daf Chaf Aleph and Mud Aleph, the bottom of the page, all the way through the Masechta, Rav was an ardent follower of Rabbi Yehuda. What did Rabbi Yehuda say about Dov Hashem is kaven? Also, so Rav is very unhappy because this brisa is a brisa that follows Rab Shimon. Drag the Gemara. What? Why being so extreme? Mishum. That's a nice YouTube title. Where the rabbi is extreme. Mishum. Frag the Gemara. Mishum de Rav Sobar like Rabbi Yehuda. Called the Tani Rab Shimon Melech lightly. Because Rav holds like Rabbi Yehuda, anybody who quotes a brisa, they're not even a paskenim. Anyone who quotes a brisa that follows Rabbi Shimon, he curses them. Doesn't make sense. He knows that there are people who follow Rabbi Shimon. By the way, halach is like who? Rabbi Shimon. Who else followed Rabbi Shimon? Shmuel. Shmuel was a Rav contemporary, right? So excuse me, Rav is cursing anybody who followed Rabbi Shimon that says what? Dovo shem iskaven mutar, and they're allowed to open and close the door because maybe it will go out, maybe not. That's a reason to curse because they follow Rabbi Shimon, which is followed by Shmuel, which is followed by Rambam and Shulchan Aruch, by the way, and Rav curses them. Omar Lay, no, 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 no. Rav is not stam being extreme. Beho, in that particular case, I feel Rab Shimon moide, and that's a classical answer. In the case of the candle, even Rab Shimon would admit that it's also, you know why? Oh, again and again and again. The Abai Beroved, the Amitavayu, both Abai and Rove said about 10 times, moide Rab Shimon, psikesha v'lo yomus. Aha. So excuse me, Rav says, no, I don't think that's Dovel Shem Niskaven. Interesting machloikis. I know that it's going to happen for sure. In other words, psik reish and Dovel Shem Niskaven are very, very dangerous things. You know why? Because you don't know where to put the cutoff point. You get what I'm saying? Dovel Shem Niskaven, I'm not sure if it's going to happen or not. It's okay. I've no kavanah to do anything bad. It may or may not happen. Go ahead and do it. Yeah. I'm allowed to walk on the grass. Maybe the grass will be pulled out. No, nicht gefährlich. If I know it's going to happen for sure, that's psik and I'm chayev, not only also. Oh, so now it's a big problem. Here, Rav says, I don't think that's the Voshim Kavan. I think that it's when you open and close, it will for sure happen. If it's regular fast motion, you open the door, you close the door quite briskly. Mimela, if you're not careful, it will happen for sure. I want this to be, I see that as belonging to the group of psik and therefore it's chayiv and it's also it's chayiv more than also. Yeah. The others who did allow it probably say no. That's called Dovel Shem Miskaven. Or I saw in one of the Rishonim, don't remember who. I saw a note that I wrote to myself years ago. They say you have to remember throughout the whole sugya. I didn't say it before. I don't want to confuse you. You have to remember that kibbutz in general, even regular kibbutz, even bechavona b'yadayim, is usually the rabbanon, according to many people, according to Rab Shimon. Why? Because it is I'm not getting anything constructive. I'm just avoiding the fire from being there, right? And that's why some people say psikreshe in the case of the rabbanon of the is allowed. Third, you know who's celebrating over here? A third answer, the Oruch. The Oruch is a shita that appears in Daf Kuf Gimel Amud Aleph, and also in Ksubes Daf Vav Amud Aleph. The Oruch says that Psik Reishe Deloi Nichale is allowed lechatchila, allowed. And this is, yeah. We rely on it for the Shabbos lights when we walk down the street. For Dvar Mitzvah, we allow it. Yeah. The Aruch is now saying, hey, look, I don't want the fire to be out, the candle. The candle is good for me. So if I open and close in a psik reisha, because it's psik reisha, the loy nichale, the first opinion at least held like the Aruch. Maybe Rav is a problem with him. But those who did allow it would say, psik reisha, deloy nichale, I'm not getting any benefit, anything good from the fire being out, and therefore it's allowed. Meshaken Rabbi, Rav said no, it's mamish osir completely, which would be a problem maybe for the Aruch. I don't know how we'll deal with that, but that could be revolving around that. It's psikresha deloy nichale. It's psikresha which I'm unhappy with a side osir result. It's a shaila whether it's mutar according to the Aruch or potter of al osir according to Tosfos. Okay? Rav Yehuda says Rav Yehuda. Another story about kibui shaloi bekavana, and actually now it's going to be havora. Imagine yourself you have fire, right? This can happen today with Shabbos candles or air conditions. Aha. Omer Rav Yehuda. Posech Odom Delis, a person may open the main door of his house, Kneged Medura b'Shabbos. There's a fireplace right across, says Toisus, in close proximity with the door. The main door is what? The fireplace. And you open the door, and it's not a problem. Why should it be a problem? Because when you open the door and there's a gust of wind coming in, it can flare up the fire. It can increase the fire, and that's a tolda of Mavil, of lighting. which should be Asur. And yet Rav Yehuda said, I'm not concerned. Lait ala Abaye. Oh, today is the day in the Gemara for curses. Abaye cursed those who did that. Those who opened the door in front of a Medura, Cherem, Klolo. Yeah, b'mayaskin. What's the story? What's the excitement over here? What's going on? Extreme achloikis. Yeah, some people allow it. That's Rav Yehuda, and Abaye curses those who do. What's the point of machloikis? If you're telling me that when you open the door, then regular wind is coming in. We're talking not about a summer day. It's a windy day, but it's a very normal, relatively calm kind of wind. My time at demand also. Then why should the guys get so excited and forbid? A regular ruach mitsuya, that's a nice breezy air. It's not going to flare up the fire. It is not, says Rashi, psik reisha. Ain't derech lavir beruch mitsuya, v'lo psik reisha hu. It's not psik reisha. What's the problem? If it's already a boom, windy day, you open the door and phew, a gust of wind is coming in straight on the fire. My time at the Shari. What's the reason to allow it? How can you allow it? Because if it's very strong wind, boom, in the face of the fire, bah, the fire goes up. Of course it's usher. Why would anyone like Rav Yehuda allow that? Yeah? Yeah? Why is it mechlokes amayhoim? It's a difference in metzias between summer and winter. Answers the Gemara. Answers the Gemara. Le'olam baruch mitzuya. Masava gazrinan, masava lo gazrinan. And that is a halacha in Shulchan Aruch. Meaning, let me slow down. Really, if the wind is boom, you open the door, you fly into the house, and the wind is coming in, and the fire goes up. Clearly, it's usher. It's a psikresha. What should you do? Good question. Stay outside, wait until the wind abates, or next time, don't have your fireplace. Speak to the interior designer to put your fireplace somewhere else. I don't know what you should do. It's a good question. Yeah, but it's a problem. It's a psikresha of avora, and you're a shomer Shabbat Jew, right? Now, so what's machlokes? Machlokes is beruch she'ena mitzuya, excuse me, in a regular wind, which does not clearly cause such a flare up, but according to Abaye, there's a gzeira. Abaye dafka cursed to make his point clear, because if you open the door to regular wind, which is not so strong, tomorrow or your next door neighbor will open the door to a strong wind. It's a gzeira, classical gzeira. Don't open the door to the wind that is so and doesn't cause a flare up. Because Zera, Shema, you'll come to open the door another time to real strong wind, to a shtickle mini hurricane, and it will really come in and flare up, and there will be an Isel Doraisa, Psikashas Doraisa, my friends, yeah? And therefore, really, that's a problem. According to Abai, the Kach Nifsek Halacha. Halacha says in Mishnah Berurah, if there's no wind b'chlal, nice Tammuz day, Ramat B'Shemesh, Av Tammuz. No wind. You'd like to have some wind, but there isn't. Go in. Why do you have a fire? I don't know. You have fire for the cooking, yeah. So then in Echanami, there's no problem. But if there is regular wind, I don't know exactly how to measure, even not so strong wind, don't open the door in front of the fire. If the fire is, says Toysves, Amedura Ktsas Kroivetz. I'm not sure. Mishmur doesn't say how many meters. I don't know how close is close. That's another good shaila, but that's a concept over here. Oh, we just finished. Okay, we're just by the two dots. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Tuesday, right? Yes. As of Wednesday, what's up, everybody? And I told everybody, Imirta Hashem, Wednesday we're returning to Avat Shalom Business Hashem. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I hope it's okay. 9 o'clock Mariv, followed by Gemara Shiur. Thank you very much. Thank you for flexibility. There are a few reasons why I do that. Thank you so much, and thank you to the amazing community of Mamlo S for hosting us so nicely for that long. Thank you so much, everybody.